All right, that without a doubt is your ammo. That is your ammo. You will not shoot anything else in competition. You had 2 go wide, and that would have been a 1/2-inch group.
Yeah. All right, we're out here at ETTS doing some testing. I say we. I'm out here. Taylor's supposed to be here, but he's not here. Freaking running late like usual. Anyways, so as you guys know, I said in the previous video that I am now on the Sons of Liberty shooting team, and I've been testing out this barrel, and we had an idea, something that Taylor and I have been wanting to test for a while. A lot of times we come across these ideas or concepts that people often state as dogmatic or absolutes, and so we want to talk about barrel profile and look at how barrel profile affects how a barrel heats up, and when a barrel gets hot, does it lose accuracy and all that. So that's what we're out testing today, because a lot of things are said on the internet, but doesn't always line up with what we see in our own training, in classes, or in competitions. So we've got a semi-scientific test we're going to conduct today, and look who's here. You finally decided to show up.
Hey, I'm here at 10:07. Said I was going to be here at 10. I'm always late, but I'm not that late. What time does it say on there?
10:08.
Well, that's because I was here at 10:07. You were filming.
A day late and a dollar short, Taylor.
All right, you want your dollar? Checking out the new setup. My first time looking at it. Oh, that is a fat barrel on there.
She got that. Yeah.
Gotta make sure the can's good. Wait, listen for it. Hold on. It's gonna be quality.
Let me explain the test and how we're doing it, why we're doing it. So I've got one barrel here, so this gun, and then I've got the Sons Precision barrel, the new one, right here. And we're going to be comparing these. Two. So really quick, if you want to hear more about the Sons barrel and development, go check out the podcast they did. I'll link it up here. You can go check them out. But the reason I have these two is because the one down here is the thinnest profile barrel I have. The Sons is the thickest profile. Now, what we're testing is to see how the barrel reacts once it heats up, and we're also testing to see how that affects accuracy. And so I've got Taylor out here to eliminate any confirmation bias. Now, the real scientific way would be if we put these in a rest and shot them that way to eliminate the shooter completely. Taylor's got no dog in this fight, so that's why I've got him out here, so that way nobody says, oh, well, you just made this one shoot better because, you know, you're shooting for them or whatever. So with Taylor shooting it, hopefully it eliminates some of that. We don't have a rest. The other thing is that one barrel is chrome lined and the Sons is stainless. So not entirely super scientific, not entirely apples to apples, but I think it should still give us an idea of if heat affects accuracy and if barrel profile affects accuracy. How fast will one heat up faster than the other? We kind of already have an idea. It's more of just to like put it on camera to show you guys, but we may be surprised. So, and if the results are bad, this will never see the light of day. That's a joke. That's a joke. How we're going to do this test is Taylor's going to shoot 10 rounds, going to try to group 10 rounds as our control. He's going to then mag dump 20 rounds, put another 10 round group together after that to see how the groups compare cold versus hot. So that'll give us a rough idea of how heat affects these barrels and how it affects performance. And we'll talk about the results at the end. Oh, one other thing. So we can't show you the mag changes because YouTube doesn't like that. So you're just going to have to trust us that we're doing it really fast. Okay, magged up into the steel. Okay. So we're going down to see the results. So the reason we're shooting 77 grain for these groups is I know that both barrels like the heavier grains. One of them, obviously the thinner profile barrel, is a little bit pickier about ammo. I've been surprised, and I talked about this in the other video, I've been surprised the Sun seems to just kind of eat up anything and doesn't really care. It does pretty well with almost everything, which has surprised me. So I'm interested to see how these two compare today. But I can tell you off the bat, what I saw through the spotting scope was a little disappointing out of these groups. Now, we could attribute that to this guy over here,
Shit, I shoot really good though.
Yeah, see, so there's that. But yeah, I just want to show you guys on paper before we shoot the next groups, and then I'm gonna show you where his cold bore was, so you have an idea of what that looked like.
Terrible.
Okay, so this is the first group, our control group. This was his cold bore.
Point of aim was here.
Yeah, so this was his cold bore. This was everything else, and then this was his second group. Again, this was his first shot in the group, but then he walked all the way across, came down, and then went up. So as the barrel got hotter, the group really started to open up this way and then this way.
Wow. That's shit. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a whole MOA and a half bigger.
Yeah.
That's wow.
And that's only after 30 rounds.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's yeah, it was 40.
Well, 30 rounds before we shot this.
Oh, yeah, that's true. I also want to say those 20 rounds I put on steel, those were sweet looking. That was a solid group.
Solid 10-inch group.
That sucks.
I mean, hopefully the Suns does better.
Yeah,
let's see what the Suns does.
I mean, if they're both bad, it means that sucks. So let's just go. Caveat. It's a different trigger, so I'm going to feel this thing out. We'll see how it goes. But for now, let's put a solid group together.
First time shooting that gun, what do you think?
Soft.
Yeah?
That trigger's not meant for speed. We got to adjust that trigger.
Yeah. But comparing the two barrels, what do you think?
That one's soft. Very soft. Like, it's soft, especially considering the first gun is with the flow can, which I consider the superior setup. That one with, I don't know how that barrel's gas, but with using a traditional baffled can with the vented ports on it, it was very it's softer. Like, my follow-ups, that was all, like, the speed was dictated by the trigger. I wasn't waiting for my sights or anything. Everything was just perfect. The gun's very soft.
Let's see what it does. Okay, so just really quick, this is from a quick zero earlier. So this was the first shot, and then we corrected to here. So if you saw my video on how to use a reticle to correct, that's what we did. So this was Taylor's first group, which, what would you say, about 1.5 inch-ish?
Right under 2.
Okay.
Well, two horizontal, 1 vertical. So, like, yeah, I mean, but maybe 1.5 inches total. We'll see.
Yeah. And then this is his second group. Notice how it didn't get any bigger. It's still mag dumping. So I think the reason that we see this out of the two different barrels is barrel profile. Because you have a heavier profile, it's not heating up as fast, but also the more material is allowing the barrel to maintain its integrity throughout that thermal cycle. So as it gets hotter, because you have more metal, it's able to withstand the heat better. So you have continued accuracy as you're shooting strings of fire. So maybe you know, the reason this matters is if you're in a competition and usually your stages aren't this long, but maybe you have a long stage, maybe you have quick stages back to back, maybe you were the last shooter then the first shooter. So things like that. Or if you were in a gunfight and you had to take a lot of shots really fast, and then you had to make a precise shot, that barrel's going to withstand and be able to perform after making all those shots. When you get into a barrel like the first one that we shot, where the groups really start to open up, you don't know if you're going to be able to make that same precise shot. So that's why barrel profile matters, but it does make the gun heavier. There's a few other factors at play, stainless versus chrome line and all those things, but really interesting findings from this. But very impressive that we dumped 40 rounds through that Suns, and it's still grouping right at around. That second group, I would say, is probably 1.25 inches. 10-shot group, 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. So pretty good.
See your point of it.
Future Jim coming in with the voiceover. So while we were out there, while we had everything set up, while the barrel was still hot, I wanted to collect some data on different types of ammo. So I'd already shot a handful through it, and I wanted to shoot a few more that we got in. and I'm still going through the process of collecting data and getting this setup absolutely dialed for next year. But I wanted to include this just to give you guys an idea of the steps we go through to try to figure out what works best in our barrels. After we ran those tests, like we came down, Taylor got the measurements, and we went back. So it's not like we let the barrel cool off. But I just wanted to see how, because that barrel is like, I think it's past its initial break-in period. So it's got about 300 rounds on it now, 350, 60 after today, or 380 after today. But I wanted to see how it would group with IMI and with his Freedom after being hot. And these are the two groups we got.
So IMI's got about 2 MOA of solid stringing, but like the group left to right, it looks solid, right? The windage is great. The elevation, that's from the ammo. I mean, you know that because Jimmy can shoot like that.
So that's what we were talking about the Freedom being really good. So that's 0.75 MOA 10-shot group.
Let's find out.
Yeah. Taylor's going to do all the science stuff. Rod and Rose hoodies, link in bio. Go check them out. Go buy one. Support the channel. Appreciate you guys. Give us your final thoughts.
Okay, so the first gun I shot, I forget what barrel that is, the thinner profile barrel. That thing was shooting at between 2.2 to 2.7 MOA. And, you know, it's okay. I wouldn't use it in a match. You know, that's not what I'm looking for with match grade ammo. The second gun, however, with a much thicker profile barrel, it got tighter the hotter I got it, which was kind of weird. So it could, I mean, eventually there would be some fall off after we actually eventually got it hot, but that's why it's nice to use a thicker barrel because they get hot slower. So I would use that in a match today. So, and that's coming from a guy that I haven't changed my match setup in 2 years because I love my setup. So, but yeah, first barrel I wouldn't shoot, second barrel I would shoot.
That was our pseudo-scientific test. Now, you know, there's some variables in there, of course, but this did validate things that we had already seen in matches, at classes, and talking to other barrel makers, that thinner profile barrels just don't perform as well under heat as heavier profile barrels. Now, there's a few other factors that go in there, as I said, but we find that heavier profile barrels do better in terms of barrel harmonics. We find they do better in dealing with heat, and we find they do better in terms of accuracy. And then as they get hot, we find they do better when you have a suppressor on the end. The thinner barrels, if you have a suppressor on the end of it, we find that it creates a larger deviation as that barrel gets really hot. Thinner barrels typically don't cool down as fast. They do heat up faster, and they're not always as accurate. So this is not an absolute. That is not to say that if you have a thin profile barrel, it won't perform well. It's not to say if you have a heavy profile barrel, it will be like lights out. That's not the case. These are just trends that we see across the board from different barrel manufacturers, different profile barrels, different things like that. There's a lot of great barrels out there, but I just want to show you guys kind of some of the things that we've figured out through this process of shooting scope carbine and getting into bolt gun and learning more and more about ammo and learning more and more about barrels and all that goes into it to make an accurate gun and make a gun that's consistently accurate. So hopefully this information was helpful for some of you. You know, I'm sure the barrel you have right now is fine. Nobody's telling you to change it. But if you're in the market for one, I would highly recommend this one. Check it out. I'll leave a link down below. There's a coupon code as well. It'll save you some money. But hopefully this helps you make a more educated decision as you're looking to get into different barrels if you want something more accurate. If you're shooting inside of 100 yards, it doesn't matter. If you're shooting with a red dot, probably doesn't matter that much. Be realistic with yourself. Be realistic about what you're trying to achieve. But I just want to share the data as I'm going through and dialing in the setup as I'm going through and testing it out and still, you know, stretching it out, still getting it broken in. I want to share that process with you guys. And so this is the stuff that I found. And hopefully you guys are having as much fun watching it as I am doing it. Probably not. But hopefully you guys find it interesting. And appreciate you guys following along. Make sure to like and subscribe. Crunch up that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. And I will see you guys in the next one.
That sounds really nice. Not like the RC3 that just sounds like, flashes a whole ton, but it's a great can.
Yeah, so that's not going to be in the video.
Sometimes she's a good goo.
Taylor wants me to let him explain why he's out here and I guess give you his resume. So here's Taylor.
Oh, hey. So I'm out here today to help old Jim's Goonlife. So basically, I've been shooting for a few years. I'm a world time national champion. Got an IQ of 240, and I invented the baseball hat. And I've got the biggest balls that have ever been put on a human being. They're not from the factory. They're supplemented nuts, and they're big.
Yes, only one of those things is true, and I've been telling him he needs to go see a doctor about that because it's probably cancer.